If anyone has any questions along the way, feel free to raise your hand or put it in the chat. This is really informal. We can take questions throughout. So we're just going to go through kind of a quick overview just of autism. Most of you will already know, but autism is a complex developmental disability that can cause significant social, communication, and behavior challenges. People with autism may communicate, interact, behave, and learn in ways that are different from most other people. And that was kind of a unique thing that Tiffany and I have just between the two of us is our children are kind of apart on that spectrum. So my children are both non-speaking, and they have much higher support needs living in that group home with 24/7 care. And then, Tiffany spoke about Reese, who's currently, a freshman at UNI. So just even between the two of us, we see that, we see those two ends of the spectrum.
Goes.
And so the spectrum I mentioned, this is just kind of a visual. We have those individuals on one end that need a lot of support. They're going to likely need 24/7 care for the rest of their lives. They're not likely to have those full-time employment opportunities. Communication and relationships may be difficult. And then we have the other side where they might have challenges in school, they might have challenges in college. But their challenges are different. So, we see that spectrum and those needs vary and the services that they need vary.
So going into just a little bit of history of Autism Society of Iowa. In 1974, Iowa implemented Chapter 281 into the Code of Iowa, which requires programs and services for all handicapped children in obtaining an education. So you might kind of know that as IDEA, things like that. So from there, the passage of the Education for All Handicapped Children Act, which is federal law, went into effect on July 1st, 1975, which ensures that every child has the right to an education, the same education as their neurotypical peers. In Iowa specifically, Senate File 1163 was passed, which created the AEAs, the Area Education Agencies, and a 2-year teacher training was established within those AEAs. From there, November 1978, I gotta move this out of the way. The Iowa Charter with the National Society of Autistic Children was started by this group of 4 parents over here on your left. They had been fighting for a long time for the right to have their children in public schools with their peers and to get autism added into the code specifically noted as a disability. So from left to right over here, you have Robert Berkran. His wife Clarice is on the very right, and then Nikki Raz and Jackie Keller. So the 4 of them kicked things off, got things moving. And as of today, they are still advocating. Robert there still comes. We have a yearly education conference. He is still heavily involved with ASI and autism advocacy, which is amazing. In 1985, they kicked off their first conference at the University of Iowa, which helped get the Autism Center at Iowa started, which is still active today. In 1988, our name was then changed to specifically the Autism Society of Iowa, which is a chapter under the Autism Society of America. So we are an affiliate of them. And there's also a Quad Cities Autism Society based in Davenport. But we primarily here service the entire state, even though we're located kind of centrally between the two of us, we do service the entire state of Iowa.
And so our mission at the Autism Society of Iowa is to create connections, empowering everyone in the community with the resources needed to live fully. So we don't provide direct services. Many of the affiliates of the Autism Society of America do provide direct services, speech, OT, PT, but we do not. And we are kind of just a source for all a connection with all of the resources that are throughout the state. So we're kind of, education, advocacy, resources, family events, things like that. So we serve our autism community through advocacy, that community programming, and creating more of those events and things that create that inclusive world for both children and adults. We do cover the entire lifespan as well. The Autism Society of Iowa has a board of directors. So as far as staff, it's just Tiffany and myself. We only have two staff, and so obviously we need help. And both of us being located in the Des Moines area, we need help throughout the state. So we're governed by a board of directors. They meet quarterly, and the committees within the board meet on a bi-monthly basis. The board consists of family members, individuals with autism, as well as professionals from throughout the state. Board members serve a 3-year term, and currently we've gone down from 37. I believe we're at 31 right now, but and we always make sure our ratio of board members is higher family members and individuals with autism in comparison to professionals. So we try to make sure, we're representing those families and representing those individuals, and they are our top priority on our board as well. So here are the committees, like I mentioned, on the board of directors. We have an executive committee, which would be Tiffany and myself. We also have a president and vice president, secretary and treasurer. We have an education committee, and they're in charge of planning like these lunch and learns as well as our conferences. We have a virtual conference coming up next Friday. We also have our really big conference in the fall, which is always at the Sheridan West Des Moines. And so they're kind of in charge of putting those conferences together, getting those speakers lined up, things like that. We have policy government relations, who mainly work on our Day on the Hill, which we had at the end of January. We always have a Day on the Hill every year. Where we invite advocates to come out and meet with their legislators, and we provide advocacy training, and it's a great networking event. And we always have a really good turnout there. Adult Member Services they work on those adult programming, our support groups, things like that. And then event planning focuses mainly on our family events, which right now we're doing a lot of sensory friendly events, movies and things like that, which we will talk about later. So we've been around for 59 years. We'll celebrate our 60th. Well, Autism Society of America has been around for 59 years. I believe they just celebrated their 60th. We have an anniversary coming up as well. But if you ever need anything, you ever move to another state, you ever know someone in another state that might need resources, most of the states have at least one affiliate. So we always encourage people to reach out to the Autism Society as a whole. And they can definitely, their call center can put you in contact with someone in the state that you're in or in the state that the family is in.
So this is just a kind of broad listing of resources that we provide. Different sections. So if you go to our website, you're going to find different drop-down menus. One is what is autism? I think, being in 2026, we've come a long way in recognizing autism, but there's still a lot of questions out there. Like, what signs do I need to be looking for? What is normal for this age? Things like that. That's that early signs of autism. Let's say you suspect that. Where do I go? Who do I contact? So we keep a running list of pediatric and adult diagnosis lists. Obviously, a lot more adults are getting diagnosed as we become more familiar with that criteria. So that is not something we keep on our website just because it is ever changing, but that is something that folks can just reach out to us. There is a contact us option on our website. And we will send them that. That is something that has to get updated I mean, it could probably be changed daily as we get new uh, diagnosis providers. Some are leaving, who takes what insurance, things like that. So we don't keep that list public just because it is constantly changing, but folks can always reach out to us for that. We've got resources for newly diagnosed families. We've got the diagnosis. Now, what do we do? Like, what therapies are out there? How do I apply for Medicaid? How do I apply for waivers? What do I need to do? So we've got those resources out there listed. Crisis information, that's a big one right now. What do I do, if my child or even my adult relative with autism elopes from the house? What do I do? What do I do if they are, having a meltdown and they are just not safe? So we have resources for that. Transition resources, that is something that's becoming more and more pivotal as autistic children become autistic adults. That doesn't go away when they turn 18. That doesn't go away when they graduate high school. So what do we do once we've aged out of those educational resources? So we've got a listing of different options there, whether they choose to, if they are able and want to go to post-secondary school, college, if they want to go to vocational school, if they need more therapies and day habs, things like that. Residential care is also listed on there. That's part of those resources as well. Specific to adults, resources. Again, like we said, all these autistic children are becoming autistic adults, and they are struggling just as much with how to function in the real world. So we've got specific resources for them. And that goes into those vocational and secondary education lists. What's out there? What help is out there on how to interview for jobs? What do I do when I get into that job? Things like that. Also, that residential care resources that we talked about for those that, are ready for a next step, but not ready, not able to be fully independent on their own. And then we also provide a monthly e-newsletter, which you can sign up for on our website. That is the best resource you can probably sign up for. That's going to have information about not only all of our events that we put on, but we share a lot that other autism groups are holding, putting on. We have as camps come up or, again, transition programs come up, things like that. We always try to include those. We've got a list of different therapy providers in there that we keep updated. So that's just a great resource to stay current on everything. Obviously, we have our social media channels as well, but that monthly newsletter is a great catch-all for all of that information that you can keep handy. Another thing we provide is we provide support groups. That was one great thing that came out of COVID. A lot of these used to meet in person. COVID obviously changed that. So they've moved to Zoom, and that has expanded the reach infinitely to the entire state of Iowa, which is great. So we have a parent caregiver support group. They meet twice a month via Zoom. That is a wonderful group. It's a chance for, grown-ups to bounce off what struggles they're having, their successes. If they're having an issue and they're not sure where to go, it's another parent has potentially already walked that road and is able to say, hey, contact, this person. They were super helpful for us. So it's just a great opportunity for parents and caregivers to chat with those that are walking the same path and have, we've got parents that have littles, preschool, kindergarten age that are just recently diagnosed, all the way up to we have one parent whose son is in his 60s, I believe, 60s or 70s. So, he has obviously been in this game for a very, very long time. So it's a great group of folks. We also provide a teen and young adult support group. Started out as a teen group, but a lot of them have grown and are now in their late teens, early 20s, kind of stepping into adulthood. These guys meet every Wednesday at 6:30 without fail. They are on at 6:30. We only go for 45 minutes because that's about all they want to do. So 7:15 hits and they are out. But they're a wonderful, wonderful group of humans. Same kind of idea. It's just a place for them to share their struggles and their wins and successes. We play a game every week, which is really fun. We try to mix it up, but that's a really fun group to be a part of. And then we have the adult networking group. Again, as autism diagnosis has expanded and we've learned more and more, these autistic kids become those autistic adults or adults are getting diagnosed late in life. This is a group for them to meet and share with others and again, get those resources, find others that are kind of going through the same struggles. Right now, it seems the big topic of conversation is kind of that workplace, those workplace struggles for them. So it's a great group of people to bounce ideas and thoughts and concerns off of.
And like we mentioned before, we do focus on advocacy, and we did have our annual Day on the Hill at the end of January. We already have 2027 planned for January 28th. And like I said, we go down to the Capitol, we meet with legislators, we have an advocacy training. This year, we also had about 13 service providers there as kind of a resource fair. Families were able to go around and ask about the resources they provide. We also have legislators come down and speak and kind of talk about their support and they want to know what we want passed and so it's always a great day and it's always encouraging when we see the families go upstairs and feel comfortable enough to talk to their legislators about the things that affect them every day and the legislation they want passed and those personal stories are really important when we're working on advocacy and getting things through the legislation. We also, like we mentioned, have our fall conference and resource fair. This is usually the first Friday in November. This year it's Friday, November 6th. We always have it at the Sheridan West Des Moines, which is right off 80, right off 50th Street near Lowe's. And it's a great day with keynote. We always have a keynote speaker or two, and then breakout sessions in the afternoon. We provide a great lunch and you get all those resources as well. This year, we're tentatively hoping to focus on communication. And so we're just starting the planning process on that. But communication, as far as AAC devices, communication as far as advocating for yourself, it'll kind of focus on all the different means of communication as well as the challenges that come with those communication barriers. So we're excited for that and getting started on that planning. And then the same day that we have our conference, we always have our live and silent benefit auction that evening. It's at the same location, the Sheridan West Des Moines, from 6 to 9 p.m. And it's just a great family-friendly event. We usually have about 150 items between silent and live. We've got a live auctioneer. And so, we get donated tickets, we get sports items from all the area teams. We get, I'm trying to even think, movie passes and gift cards to, local businesses, as well as fun home items, Christmas items, holiday items. And so we always encourage everyone to come out and join us for that night. That is our primary fundraiser for the year and how we support all our mission the whole year. And so, as many people as we can get out filling those seats, the better. And registration for our conference and our auction usually go up about July, August timeframe. So you can keep an eye on that, and we'll hopefully see some of you there if you haven't joined us before.
So then moving into just some of those events that our auction helps provide throughout the year. We do most of them you're going to see are sensory friendly, right? That's a big thing for our autistic community. So we do sensory friendly dances. Those are always really, really fun. Typically, it's a Valentine's dance. This year, our location is having construction, so we've pivoted a little bit, and we're going to do kind of an end of summer back to school bash dance celebration. So that's always a really good time. We partner with some local groups to provide, sensory corners, and there's dancing and pictures and snacks. So it's always a great time. Sensory friendly movies is a big one that's gaining more traction, which is great. This involves partnering with local theaters, limited seating, kind of selling usually half the amount of tickets so families can spread out. They can move, they can get up, walk around throughout the movie if they need to. The lights are not all the way down. They usually go 50, 75%. So it's not quite as dark, which can be scary. The sound is much lower. If you've gone to movies, sometimes you know that they can blast that sound very, very loud. So they keep that down a lot. And we try to make them free as much as we possibly can. That way, families don't have that financial burden. You don't want to pay $50 to go to a movie, take your kids to the movie, and then you have to leave 10 minutes in because it's just not going well. So, a lot of times we'll try to partner with, discount snack things and do that. But the sensory friendly movies have been wonderful for families. We've done sensory friendly swimming events. Same kind of thing. These are not done during public hours because pools can be overwhelming for the best of us. So those are always really great. Typically no music is going, or if it is, it's very, very low. Limited number of attendees, and free, right? That's the ticket. We don't want to have a financial barrier for families. That way, if they come and it doesn't go well, they're not out any money. So it's a great way for them to kind of make those steps towards those kinds of activities. We've done sensory friendly Easter egg hunt. We actually partner with Cultivating Hope's Farms north of Des Moines. So they will do again, limited number. I believe, the kids can just come in and they take their time. There's not a lot of other things going on. So they can go at their pace, which is wonderful. Our sensory friendly fall event. This is essentially what you'd think a trunk or treat is, but instead of walking through it, they get to stay in their car, where they feel safe. And it's, there's not hundreds of other kids trampling over them to try to get to the next trunk. So we've had animals there. We give out goodie bags and treats, and that's always a super fun one. That one's one of my favorites because they're typically just so happy and they feel safe, and they still get to enjoy kind of the perks of Halloween.
Another thing that we offer are post-high school graduation scholarships. We actually just closed our application timing for this year, but we offer 5 different scholarships, varying from high school students with autism going into secondary. We also have the Zach Paulson Memorial Scholarship, which is provided from a family, the Paulsons here in the Des Moines area, whose son Zach had autism and unfortunately passed away a few years ago. So they fund a scholarship for an individual that's going into a trade. Zach was a mechanic, so they really want their money to go toward, someone that's working in some sort of trade. And we've given aviation mechanic, and last year we did someone that was going to a culinary arts school, and so they really focus on those trades, and and Robert and Clarice, like Tiffany mentioned earlier, one of the founders of ASI, they also give a scholarship for someone who's going to go into a profession that works with children with autism. So, and then we've got the 2 additional The Marilyn Weinberg Caregiver Scholarship is for someone that a parent or even a grandparent or even just a caregiver in the respect that they've worked with individuals with autism. We want to support those people as well. You know, maybe they've put their plans on hold to care for a child with autism and now they want to go back to school. So we try to help with that. And then the Josephine Gittler um, is a scholarship for someone who's going into law that will work with individuals with disabilities. So, and like I said, we just closed our time frame March 15th, and then we usually announce the winners in April. So we review all those scholarships um, and a lot of our memorial donations that we get, this is what they want, the families want their money to go to is these scholarship opportunities. And we're always so happy when we see those applications come in. So we also have family and conference scholarships. So our family scholarships are up to $300 per family per year. And some of the things that you can use them for are autism specific classes and camps. So we cover a lot of kids' camp fees, Camp High Hopes, Camp Courageous. Um, they have those, you know, special camp weekends for individuals with autism. We cover all of the fees. Um, and you know, any of those additional fees they might have to attend. We get a lot of requests for safety equipment, locks for doors, locks for windows. Um, Obviously, $300 can't fund a fence for a yard, but you know, we door alarms or things like that. And we get a lot of requests for that. We also get a lot of requests for sensory equipment. Your child might want to swing. Maybe they need some fidgets or some sensory things they can bring to school, exercise balls, things like that. Headphones. So we try to cover those things as well. Job coaching for individuals with autism. If they get to the that age where they're looking for jobs and they want that one-to-one job coach, we can cover those costs, and we can also cover insurance copays. So, say they have their waiver hasn't kicked in, or there those long waits for waivers. So. We can pay those insurance copays if if they've got those through their private insurance. And then our conference scholarships are for families who want to attend our conferences, but there's a financial hardship that they cannot attend. So we just cover their costs. We also usually have grants that cover transportation for our conference. So if they drive a distance to attend, we will cover their gas and mileage. So and so that just helps make sure we can get as many people to those conferences as we can.
So then we also provide some safety resources. If you see us at a conference, we often have these yellow stickers that you see on the left there that you can put on the window of your car or your front door window at your house. Um, and seatbelt tags are very common. This just lets you know if there's an emergency and first responders come in, this is going to signal to them that there is a person with autism that may not respond to them in a typical way. So it's a great tool for them. They can go in more prepared in how to handle the situation. Um, Same with the shoe IDs. Again, they might come across somebody who is nonverbal that has eloped. So, you know, these shoe IDs are going to have information on how to get a hold of their caretakers. On the right there, you kind of see a physical emergency profile. These are wonderful to have in a binder with information about your child specifically, allergies they might have, their preferences, things like that. Essentially, just for, you know, again, those first responders or anybody that's coming into your home or interacting with an autistic individual, how to handle situations with them, how to, you know, be prepared if they react a certain way. We are actually going to have an upcoming lunch and learn. As it is 2026, paper things are not as common anymore. So we're going to have a lunch and learn on a new program called the Danny Plan, which was started by a dad of an autistic individual, um, that basically kind of takes all that information and it's stored online and it can be shared with whomever the family and the caretakers decide to share it with, whether that's, doctors, therapists, if they are in residential living, certain people from different aspects of their residential living will have access to all of this information. It's all online. It's a really, really cool program, and it's something that our National Autism Society of America has partnered with Danny Plan, and as an affiliate, we have opted to expand that information to our Iowa families. So if you're able, stay tuned. The information on that is coming out. I believe that Lunch and Learn is going to take place in May. Um, so we'll be getting the information and registration information out on that, but I would highly, highly recommend that. It's going to be an amazing resource for families. So
And I also wanted to chime in, Tiffany, I don't know if you can bring up the water safety stuff on our website and I can just go
yeah,
over it really quick.
I
So
can.
one thing that we've really focused on for 2026, so much that we don't even have it in our PowerPoint yet, but we received a grant last year from Variety Children's Charity, and we wanted to focus on wandering and water safety. And so at our fall conference last year, um, we did a breakout session on water, wandering and water safety, where we had a couple swimming instructors come in and kind of talk about the difference between adaptive swimming lessons and regular swimming lessons, which, there is a difference. Adaptive swimming lessons, a lot of the time, are primarily focused on life skill, the life-saving skills in swimming. So, how to keep your head above water, how to doggy paddle. And also focuses a lot on just the safety of water, and focuses a lot on don't go near water without an adult. So one thing we've been able to do this year, which we're so happy to be able to do, is provide water safety scholarships um, for families, and like I said, up to $300 per year. Um, they can apply for us to cover adaptive swimming lessons, and we've had a great response. I think we've already done about 20 scholarships, um, up to that $300 for those families to get out and get those swimming lessons. Because, for a lot of families, that's, it's a financial burden that they can't focus on. So, we also have done a lot of partnerships with Polk County Sheriff's Office as far as their Lost program, which is a program you can sign up on online, and they can keep your child's information in their database. So um, say your child wanders and you call 911, all of their information will already be in the system, where they'll know, we have got a child that wanders. Perhaps they're nonverbal, they don't respond to their name, but these are the things they like. This is what we could do to kind of bring, try to, rather than calling their name, because that might not work. So the loss program and another, other counties throughout the state also have those programs. And Tiffany has up right now is the water safety toolkit we just put together. We just launched it a couple weeks ago, but it has, social stories, um, information about our scholarship, and also has a listing of providers throughout the state who do one-on-one or adaptive swim lessons. And so we'll at some point in the near future we'll have printed copies, but this is available on our website. And like I said, it's been a focus for us because recently there was a drowning in Altoona, and unfortunately last week we had a wandering death in Grimes, and so it's just something we've really focused on, and we're hoping to be able to continue next year. So um, every time we get a water safety scholarship application, I'm always glad that these parents are taking those steps to kind of increase their child's awareness and And so that's up on our website, and you can always reach out if you have any questions about that. So thank you, Tiffany. Sorry to throw
Nope,
off
no
here.
problem.
And then I believe the next slide, and these are some special projects we've done in the past. We partnered with University of Iowa Special Needs Dentistry and worked on a dental care project. And they mainly wanted to train dentists to get them comfortable working with individuals with autism because many of them are willing to do that, but they don't know the steps they need to take to make it a successful successful experience. And so so they were focusing on, reaching out to area dentists and asking them, would you be willing to take this training, and what do you need in your office to make dental experiences successful? And so we were, happy to partner with University of Iowa for that. We did a project with a Drake student on menstruation. So she wanted to focus her capstone project um, on, what do you teach and how do you teach these girls when they come into that age? What does it mean? How do they handle it? And so, she did a whole social story as well as videos on ways you can teach, and it was a great project, and we were thrilled to work on that. Dating and relationships. This is a focus of our adult group and even our high school group. They want to know, safe dating. How do they meet someone um, that they connect with? And so, we're focusing a lot more on in-person events for our adults, and we're trying to increase those. But also, there's camps that we worked with that have had weekend dating experiences, and I believe there's one coming up even. So those safe dating skills, as well as kind of goes right into that internet safety. If you meet somebody online, how do you know that they're who they say they are? How do you not get taken advantage of? And so, we've done lunch and learns as well as breakout sessions at conferences on internet safety. And with the rise in internet, and obviously a lot of our kiddos and our adults, their primary source of communication with others is and peer communication is over the internet. So we want to focus on that safety as well. And these are some of our community partnerships, and they're growing all the time. The DD Council, the Ask Resource Center, Access Therapy Centers, RAP, Child Serve, Balance Autism, Stride. We've partnered with so many more lately. We try to work with, ABA providers, that the new ones that are coming up, they get invitations to our conference, our Day on the Hill. And we also just, we're all working toward a similar goal, so we all want to work together. Um, and so, I try to put people in contact with these agencies as well. If it's something we don't provide, but they do, we try to make sure we have contacts there as well.
Oh, sorry. It just
Oh, you're fine.
decided to shut off. That was the end, though. Let me get
Yeah,
our
that's
contact
the end.
information up.
I can share mine if you want me to put up the contact page, but
I don't know why it stopped on me.
so
Here.
if does anyone have any questions, or just kind of, specifically if you've had a family, or if you yourself, are looking for something, here's our contact information. Um, like I said, Tiffany and I both work from home out of Ankeny, but we do have board members throughout the state that we can put people in contact if they're in their area. But people can always give us a call, shoot us an email. We do have a contact us form on our website if they prefer to communicate with us, via email or text, and we welcome any questions. So, anyone has any questions or wants to chime in,
Is
feel
the
free to
best,
unmute yourself.
oh, sorry, is the best way I'm sorry, I'm Jess Goldberg with Lighthouse Autism Center. Is the best way to explore collaborations and community partnerships just by shooting you an email and maybe scheduling some time
Yep.
to chat about different opportunities?
Abs yep, absolutely. Yep, just shoot me an email. That Autism Society Iowa Gmail account comes directly to me. So yeah, just shoot us an email, and we would love to have a Zoom or a phone call, whatever works, and we can chat. Where are you located, Jess?
So we are located throughout Iowa right now. Sorry, I did a cheat sheet because we are expanding.
Well, that's
We're
good.
about to open in Cedar Falls, but we're in Waterloo, Cedar Rapids, East Moline. Well, East Moline's technically Illinois, but Clinton, Marion, Davenport, North Liberty.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, we would love to partner. And like I said, um, you know, you can always, we extend the invitation for our resource fair every year, but we also, if there's something specifically you guys are thinking of wanting to do, especially if we have a board member in your area, we'd love to partner with agencies.
Amazing. Thank you so much. This was really just wonderful. Appreciate the resources, especially the resources for older adults. There's, I think, at least speaking for me, we have a little more stronger connections with resources for younger children, but often get asked for resources um, for older teens and adults. So this was really, really, really helpful. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah, I think Tiffany and I both think one of the more rewarding parts of our job are those support groups because we meet with them on a regular basis and learn, we've seen them grow from, many of them were in high school, and now they have jobs, or they're, going to college and it has been very rewarding for us to see their friendships grow as well. And I love, yeah, the high school group and the adult group we really enjoy because they've been growing up right in front of us, which we enjoy.
I really enjoy the parent sport group as well. So I wanted to thank you both for having that. And I appreciate this lunch and learn. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for hopping on, Katie. Well, if there aren't any other questions, we can end a little bit early, but like I said, feel free to reach out. We try to add new things all the time. We're brainstorming ideas. And if you have an event in your community, feel free to share it with us. We'll put it in our newsletter. But yeah, definitely if you're new to us, sign up for our newsletter because you can get a lot of information from there. And it usually goes out the first or second day of the month. Um, and you'll get all kinds of resources from throughout the state.
Hi,
Well,
Erin. Sorry, I was
yeah,
just
go
having
ahead.
trouble unmuting myself. I'm Janine from CareLinks ABA, and basically we serve all the similar overlapping areas as the Lighthouse. And I had a similar question as her, but then she answered it. But I hope to be in touch with you guys soon as well. It was very informative, and it was great to see that there's so many resources that can be offered for parents who, need the financial support because I realize that a lot of the time that is a concern um, and a barrier. So I'm very happy to learn that there are, so many opportunities just for socialization and a safe and sensory friendly place that they can go to.
Absolutely. And we always try to have all of our events be free. I know our
Mhm.
Valentine's dance, we charged for last time just because we were paying for a DJ, but
Mhm.
our movies are always free. And all of our the fall drive-through event, um, the Easter egg event, we try to make sure as much as possible everything is free. So, and that's really important to us because I know, I mean, when my children were young, there's no way we would go to a movie if we knew we wouldn't be able to last for 2 hours. And it really it makes it very isolating and also just doesn't give children that opportunity to be with their peers. So yeah, we really focus on making sure everything's free and we can offer, like I said, scholarships for conferences And honestly, if somebody wants to attend something, we would never tell anyone no. We try to give opportunities when people ask. So
It's really wonderful to hear. Thank you so much for sharing.
yeah, thank you. Was Carolinx at our resource fair as well? Tiffany, do you
Um,
remember?
I thought so.
I thought so too.
I joined them in February. So when was
Okay.
your resource fair?
It was in
January.
November. It was in November, but
Yeah.
I believe you guys did have a table there. So we hope
And
you
I
can
think you
join us
guys were at the
again.
Capitol with us too. So
Yep. Yep.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Well,
So
we're
we
hoping to join next year as well. I already took down the dates.
perfect. Perfect.
I'm gonna
All right. Well,
stop
thanks
recording.
everybody.